I spent 6 days in El Salvador, and in this video, I'll be showing you how you can do it too. If you're new here and just joining the series, I would suggest going all the way back to episode 1 to get an idea of what's going on. In the previous episode, we talked about the cost of visiting El Salvador. In this video, let's find out how to get there from anywhere you are in the world. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And I know I'm one day late, so please bear with me. Life happened. I already tried to push it out yesterday, but it didn't work out, so I'm here today. Thank you for your patience. Well, today we're supposed to talk about travel to El Salvador from wherever you are in the world. Let's get into it. El Salvador, translated in English meaning the savior, is home to more than 6 million people and share borders with Guatemala and Honduras. It might seem small in comparison to its neighbors, but let me tell you, there's a lot of ground to cover here as well. Because I only had a couple days here, I only stayed in the capital city, San Salvador. You can get there in multiple ways. If you are a US citizen, a Canadian citizen, or someone from the UK, you're a citizen of these 3 countries, you wouldn't need a visa. It should be pretty easy. Just with your passport, jump on a plane, you get there. No issues. In some cases, they won't even ask you any questions. If you don't have any of these citizenships, but you have one of their visas, which you're talking a US visa, a UK visa, or a Canadian visa, you should somewhat have a similar experience, because certain of these countries, even having the visa is as valuable or close to being valuable. So having these visas will allow you to enter these countries, specifically El Salvador, and it will give you a 90-day window to not enter just El Salvador, but all the countries within that region, specifically under the group. I don't remember the name. I'll put the name below. It's C something. And this involves Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and I'm missing Honduras. Because you have access to that visa, it allows you to not only go to El Salvador, but all of these countries. Now, if you don't have a visa or a citizenship of these 3 countries, let's get into the process. I'm gonna start with Jamaicans because I'm a Jamaican, so let's start with Jamaica. If you don't have a visa for these countries, you're gonna need a visa. And unfortunately, we do not have an embassy for El Salvador in our country. So you would have to go physically to the nearest embassy, or you could apply via online to get an e-visa. Those are the 2 options. Applying with the e-visa is going to be fastest, but when you do get approved, when you get to the country, you get a physical stamp that you have the visa there. When you apply for the visa physically, like you go there, you have to do it in 2 phases. You have to travel there to get the visa, then go back home, because chances are you have jobs, so you won't be able to wait. And once it's approved, you can either mail. Some countries allow you to mail it back. I am not sure if El Salvador allows that, but you will either mail it back or you physically have to go back there to collect the visa, because you won't be able to leave the country without the passport. You gotta get what I'm saying? So you have to make 2 trips, assuming you have the money set aside just to go to that country to get the visa there. It is crazy, but apparently that's how it is for the previous country, which was Guatemala. Remember we were saying that I'm not sure if you have to physically go there and wait. You don't have to wait. You go there, apply physically, then you go back home, and based on the response, whether yes or no, then you can go back there to get the stamp. So those are the 2 options right now if you don't have a visa. The required documents that you need. Let's talk about the e-visa, because there's two types. We're going to talk about the e-visa first, then we're going to talk about getting the physically going to the embassy. Now, for those who need the e-visa, and as of today, like I checked a couple hours ago, or I think a few minutes ago, and Jamaicans right now only requires the e-visa. However, based on your situation and maybe your purpose of traveling, depending on what you submit in the thing, they might ask you to physically go there. But for now, let's talk about the e-visa. For Jamaicans, there's an official site that allows you to submit the e-visa, and I'll put the link below. I also found another really cool video that walks you through the process of applying for the e-visa on the official site. So I will also link that down below. And the process, how it works, you go to the official site, you create an account, you upload your documents. We're talking about accommodation information, we're talking about your flight to go and return for the trip, or return ticket, because they need that. They need to know that you're going to leave the country when you go there. They also want a copy of your passport, so you're going to scan the part with your face on it and expiration date on all the things. Mark you, your passport has to be valid for more than 6 months. And this is standard for almost every country. Make sure that your passport is valid for more than 6 months. Now, after you fill in all the information, they're gonna ask you about, just all the other personal information like your name and all these things. And then the next step is gonna make payment. And you're gonna do that by a debit or credit card, and it's gonna be all within the system. So just make sure that the link that you go to is the official link, because you don't want anybody to scam you. They are out there. So just be careful of that. Make sure it's the official site of that embassy or of that country. And once you submit that information, once you make the payment information and the visa, I saw multiple fees, but I'm gonna give you a range. So it's I see from $30 to $100. And I know that some countries, depending on what group you're in, because I found that out 4 years ago, that some countries put you in a different group based on your nationality. So your visa might be a little bit cheaper or a little bit more expensive than some. So just bear in mind that the range, it could be from $30 to $100. Once you pay that money, then the next step would be the approval stage. You're gonna take some time to do the approval. So from the time you submit your passport and your information to the time you get approval, it will be around 3 to 10 business days. In some cases, depending on your situation, it could take up to 20 business days. So bear that in mind. So if you're gonna book your flight for we're in March now. So if you book your flight to March 5, for example, and you know that's a couple days away, it's not realistic, because yes, it could be best case scenario, it's ready in 3 days, but worst case scenario, it could take up to 20 days. So make sure whenever you're applying for that visa, you have to give yourself enough time. We're talking business days, and Monday to Friday minus holidays. So make sure wherever you're going, make sure you know that if this country requires a visa and how long in advance you have to apply, because some countries take up to 3 weeks. 3 weeks, like the UK, they take up to 3 weeks. So make sure that and even some countries even longer. So make sure you give yourself enough time to get the visa before the actual trip, because you don't know what can happen. So work with the worst case scenario, which is 20 business days, and apply way in advance for the actual trip, so that you have some time just in case something happens. And make it even worse if you physically have to go there. Yeah, give yourself way more time. So you follow the step, make the payment, You wait between 3 to 10 business days, hopefully, and they will tell you whether you are approved or rejected via email. So make sure the email that you've added is good so that you can receive it when it comes through. So that's the process for the e-visa. For the people who, also make sure you have proof of funds, because the type of required document, when you get to the airport, they want to know that you can afford the trip. So make sure you have that ready on hand. When you get the approval, make sure you print the confirmation of the email, of the approval email or approval documents in the system there, so you can take that with you upon arrival. Take that with you to when you're traveling. Therefore, when you get there, you'll just show them the confirmation and they will stamp the physical visa in your book. So just bear that in mind. When you get approved, print the copy so you have it. Okay. For the people who have to physically go there, because in some cases you might need to, if the embassy is in your country, it shouldn't be too difficult. You just get the required documents, you go show up, and I would say it should be a breeze, but it should be pretty straightforward. Same required documents. If you don't have an embassy like in Jamaica, you will physically have to go there. To the closest embassy. And you have to apply for these things outside of El Salvador. You can't apply within it, because chances are you would not be legal if you're in there without a visa. So make sure you do it outside of the country. When you physically go to the nearest embassy, for Jamaica, the nearest embassy is in Cuba. But if you know what's going on in Cuba with the power and all the things, I would suggest finding another country, and that's probably going to be Panama. So you have to think about the flight. You got to think about accommodation upon arrival when you're going to get a date to show up at the embassy. So make sure you have enough time there to go to the embassy. But then if you have work and all the things, you don't have all the luxury in the world, and it could get expensive as well to be over there. Well, it's kind of cheaper. Yeah, but let's say you have a physical job you have to go back to. Make sure you time it right so that you get the approval date for the application date to go there physically. Then you go back home and then wait for approval. And then when you get approval, you fly back to collect it and then go back home. Yeah, let's hope that's not you. But that's the process though. And that's for all the countries that if your country doesn't have an embassy that you're trying to go to, you will have to go to the nearest embassy, and the process is probably going to be the same. So just bear that in mind. Finding flights shouldn't be too difficult if you are from a country with a very strong passport, because you could connect through countries like the US and other things to get where you need to kind of cut the cost on the plane fare. For Jamaicans, unfortunately, if you don't have a visa for a US, UK, or Canadian visa, you wouldn't want to go over to the UK to come back. So let's cut UK out of this process. We're going to talk about the US, because US is to get like a cheaper flight. In most cases you can channel through the US to go over, because the flights are more frequent there. But if you don't have a US visa, or one of those transit visas that the US have, which is called a C visa, that allows you to just pass through the country within less than 24 hours. I've never actually met a Jamaican who has a transit visa. Normally they have a visa, it's a 10-year visa, but 10-year visiting visa. But I did meet someone from a different country with a transit visa. If you don't have any of that, then you just forget the US for now. And because it's crazy, there are some countries that you need a visa for that country to get to the embassy for another country. In this case, fortunately, we don't need to, For Jamaicans, we could connect through Dominican Republic. We don't need a visa for that one. Or Panama. Connecting through El Salvador, well, connecting through Dominican Republic might be one of your best route, and possibly cheaper, or cheapest. Cheaper, because it's 2 options. Well, cheapest, let's say that. We have an airline, well, not Jamaica. Dominican Republic has an airline called Arajet that flies from either Kingston or from Montego Bay, but the route I'm talking about is from Kingston. So they fly to either Punta Cana, or which is to the extreme, what side? East, extreme east, and to the extreme west, which is Santo Domingo. That's the capital city. So they have 2 options there. But the flights from to El Salvador from Dominican Republic, it flies from Santo Domingo, which is the capital city. So it goes from Kingston. You could get a flight channeled from Kingston to Santo Domingo, and from Santo Domingo to El Salvador airport. That's the fastest way. The other option is going to be through Copa Airlines, which is the Panama Airlines, and it flies from Jamaica to Panama City, and then from Panama City to El Salvador. Those are the 2 options right now that allows you to bypass the US and still have a relatively reasonable price plane fare. But when I compare the 2 airlines, in most cases, Arajet is going to be cheaper. And I'm talking for experience because I've used it from Jamaica to Colombia. If you are from a different country or different region, it should be the same process if you are able to connect through one of those major cities. So if you're coming from Asia, for example, you could get routed through the US, or routed through Central America, through the UK, then Europe, and then Central America, or through through Africa. So they have multiple options. I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to talk specifically to Jamaicans because that's more I know more about. But you, based on your access to other countries, you can just kind of check to see what works best for you based on your flight. Because if you're coming all the way from that side, it's going to be pretty expensive. So the fastest way you can get over this side by finding a really big hub, it will cut down the price, because how airlines are really priced, the more traffic to a destination, the cheaper the flights might be. I mean, minus the season, because if you're in the middle of summer, prices might be a little higher than normal. But normally, if there is a ton of traffic, meaning people are traveling back and forth, the flights might be cheaper than a not so popular airport. So bear that in mind. For Jamaicans, it's to Dominica or Panama directly to El Salvador. In terms of attractions, popular attractions, they had so many and spread out in so many areas that I had to really think about what I wanted to do first. To be honest, I wanted to do 2 things in that country. I wanted to do the rainbow slide, and I also wanted to do the maze. However, based on the time that I had there, I was only there for a couple of days because I was trying to sync it up with the transportation and leaving there, because I was taking a bus to go to Honduras. I only decided to stay within San Salvador. The maze that I wanted to do was outside of the city. It was in another town, I don't remember the name, but it had a beautiful scenery up there where you were able to do a maze of the thing. They even had riding a bicycle on a wire. I'll get the name for you so you can see it. It was amazing, and I really wanted to do it, but it was so far away based on where I was. I think it was about 2 hours, 2-hour drive to get there, and then 2-hour drive to come back. And then it was like a whole day activity, and I did not have the time to do that. So that's something I would definitely go back and say, hey, I would definitely do that. But for now, I only did one of the things I wanted to do, which was the rainbow slide. But then while I was there, we found out about another park that was there with an open crater, and I was able to experience that, and I was happy about that. So I did only 2 attractions there, but you know, I spoke a little bit with the locals, went to the supermarket, had all the things, and had an amazing time there. But if I were to go back, I would definitely go back to do that. They also have an area to the extreme west, where is the Pacific Ocean, and you can do surfing and all the things down there. There's a whole other town, I think it's called Libertad, La Libertad, and there's a whole surf area down there. That was where I was planning to go initially, but then when I found out that the ticker bus was in the actual city and my hostel was in the city, I decided to go there. So I would definitely go back and do all the things, and give myself more time for El Salvador, but I really loved it. I enjoyed it. If you have gotten into the country and you're having a great time and something happened, you lost your passport, there is some issue with citizens and they are striking or something is happening and you need to be extracted out of there, it is good to know where your embassy is located. For Jamaicans, your embassy is in San Salvador. El Salvador is not big in comparison to the other countries beside it, the neighboring countries, but in Jamaican sense, it's big. Okay. And the roads are okay the roads are okay. But the transportation outside of the capital area or where everybody frequents might be a little different. So if you are in a different area, just know that you might have to leave from there, or in a different city, you might have to leave from there to get to the capital city to sort your business out. So just bear that in mind, that the embassy or consulate for Jamaica is in the capital city, which is in San Salvador. And I'll put the instruction either here, the address and everything, or here or over here, depending on what side I'm on, so that you can reach out to the embassy if anything happens, or consulate if anything happens while you are in the country. So wherever country you are from, make sure you know where your embassy is located, so that if you need to be extracted out of there, perfect example situation we had in Dubai where, you know, people get stranded out of there, you got to reach out to your embassy to make sure that, yeah, you can leave or have some form of protection. Because the minute you touch the location that your embassy is located on, you are technically on your grounds. Even though it's within the country, they have some arrangement where if I'm on my embassy compound, it's kind of considered for that country. You know what I'm saying? So just bear that in mind, and I hope that all of this information is helpful. I hope you go to El Salvador and have an amazing time. As it relates to travel insurance, make sure you have travel insurance. It is very important, just in case something happens that the embassy cannot help you with. You're gonna need to get insurance that will help you to make payments at the hospital if anything happens to you. It is very, very needed. And I can only recommend what I know about and what I've actually used, and that is Safety Wing. It's not sponsored, but I do have an affiliate link that's linked below that you can check out when you are ready to get your trip. As it relates to booking the trip, if you feel like you are not comfortable doing it yourself or need a little guidance here or there, I would suggest clicking the link below to get a consultation from me, and we could take your trip to the next level. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoy, and signing out for today. See you next week. Boom.